I believe we are live. Let me check on the stream. Good morning, everybody.
Sweet.
Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. If you can hear this, drop a what's up in chat. Yeah. Oops. Yeah, I think we're up and running, Joseph.
All right. Wonderful.
Dope, dope, dope. Well, how are things in your world?
Things are good, man. Just got two baby boys. Funny. Oh, I haven't talked to you about this since the last time we talked because we went and did a little staycation at the Raffles Hotel. By the way, those of you who are listening, go check out the Raffles Hotel in Singapore. If you ever come here, it's a very expensive hotel, but definitely worth it if you're coming with a significant other, or heck, if you're coming by yourself and you want a fancy place to stay. Anyway, it's one of the oldest hotel that they've redone in the last couple of years. Anyway, so we went and stayed there. But the main point of the story was my son has been sick going in and out of school as a two year old would, but just more sick than usual. And so he's had to go to three different. He will be starting his third different school
Oh,
in 2 weeks, something like that. So anyway, that's what we've been dealing with here as parents, and other than that's our main focus. So and Singapore has gone back into a semi lockdown. We'll call it phase two because of you know what. Don't want to say it for the YouTube algorithm, but we're in phase two, which means you can order food, but you can't go dine in anywhere, and you can only travel in pairs of two. So that's something we're also dealing with here in Singapore.
whoa.
I'm not going to get to the reasons why, but if you want to Google it, it'll make you laugh, or maybe Jaime, you and I can talk about it later. But the rest of the viewers and listeners, I'll save you the long story.
Uh,
Anyhow, that's what's going on in my world. What's going on in your world?
I've just been shopping. I've just been shopping.
Yeah, looking nice.
Trying, dude. Trying to step up. Trying to step up. I got to get marketable somehow. So God didn't.
A marketable marketer.
Yeah. God didn't give me the look, so I gotta compensate. You know what I'm saying? That's what's up. But he did give me
Oh,
money,
dude.
so there we go.
Hey, you got you're one or the other or both, and no matter what, I think it's going to work out. So that's always a good thing.
I love it. I love it. Well, let's kick things off. Welcome to the Agent Lead Source Podcast, episode 45. That's right, 45. I can't believe we've gotten to this number, which is
Yeah.
a great thing. But today we're looking at YouTube and how to get your first transaction on YouTube. We're going to get very molecular. So, this is a dense episode. We're going to really need you to lean in certain parts, take some notes, and you will probably need to replay this. So, on the second time that you're listening to this, make sure that you give that 5-star review because we will have absolutely earned it. But with that being said, Joseph, what time is it in Singapore? And because it's a tradition at this point,
Yeah.
just like talking about new construction, which we probably will in
Yeah.
this talk. How is it in Singapore?
Yeah.
What
It's
time?
currently 9:34 p.m. here in Singapore, 84 degrees. So it is, as you can see from the window back here, it's completely dark outside, but it's still 84 degrees. And funny enough, it'll be like this for ever because it does not cool down because we're so close to the equator and live in a tropical island. So, yeah, it's late but still warm. And
Wow.
your side of the world, what time is it now?
It is 8:34, 5 Central Time. So we're on Central Time over here in Dallas, Fort Worth. So that
13-hour
is
difference.
dope. Yeah. All righty. Well, let's get going. That's a tradition. So we're talking about YouTube. And this is one that we've talked about YouTube in the past, but not as molecular. So just to catch everybody up to speed, let's do just one brief summary. You know what YouTube is. So no need to go into that, but it's a video hosting platform that is the second most frequented website in the United States right now. So there's a lot of traffic. There's a lot of people going to YouTube. And it is basically a search engine for videos. Anytime you missed a show, anytime you missed a game, anytime you missed a X, Y, and Z, where are you going? You're going to YouTube. Now that's awesome. That's the entertainment part. But what we fail to realize is that we are also given the opportunity to upload our own videos and be those creators, be those individuals that get seen. And what does that do? Well, that gives you exposure. So there's a lot of free marketing that happens. But beyond that, it gives you the ability to create a relationship with a viewer. So in our context, we're talking about real estate. So this could be connecting with a home buyer. It could be connecting with the home seller. It can be connecting with a referral partner. So other real estate agents or inspectors, lenders, title companies. You are marketing yourself on the platform through your YouTube channel, which hosts your videos. Is that a fair summary, Joseph?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great summary. I think a lot of people I don't think a lot of people will take the idea of YouTube and understanding that it's not just about creating content for the sake of creating content. And so I think you hit all the points that needed to be hit. But I want to take it a little bit further here and just let people know, agents know that, or marketing companies, if you watch this, that content creators and video platforms actually have been outperforming as far as receiving budget to market on YouTube. They have spent more money on that platform than they have on TV. So, and that's been since like 2016, 2017. So for the last, call it 4 years or so, 5 years, YouTube has become a place for companies to go to put their marketing out there. And so what agents need to understand is, if these larger conglomerates, if you will, are doing that, why would you not be doing the same thing that they're doing, right? And again, we've talked about this multiple times. It's so untapped that you need to be leaning into this just like they are, so that you're ahead of the curve. Because I still think there's still a lot of room left for our type of our industry, right? And so, yeah, I think you hit it right. It's a place to go put your free content, make it a very specific content, and know what your goal is with that content. And I think you'll start seeing some of the things. We're going to talk about these things here in a bit, but you're going to start seeing how you can win way, way more, spending way, way less.
Yeah. So basically, in summary, it's making content, essentially making a video, posting it on YouTube, and repeat. So if you take nothing else from this, it's really that simple. It's a simple formula where you actually see progression, growth, and actual results is through a strategy. And that's where we come in. So we're going to take it as a given that you know how to make a video, and chances are that you do. It may not look as clear and crisp as us. And I say us now because I have a pretty bomb camera. So
Congratulations.
I'm trying to, I'm trying to do a subtle flex,
There
but
you go. Big
beyond that,
flex.
you don't need none. And neither, I've never asked you this, but I'm going to guess that you didn't start with one of those types of cameras. You started with something like this, which is I'm holding up a phone. Is
Yeah.
that right?
Yeah. No, I that is 100% correct. My first live videos that I did, even now, whenever I do most of my lives, I still use a phone to this day. Right now, sitting down and doing this, and spending money and having the money to spend, that came with time, right, and understanding and growing my business and things like that. But anybody, let's be honest, your phone can shoot 4K now. And if you want the depth of field where everything's blurry in the background, you can purchase an app or use a free app to do that now, right? So you don't necessarily have to have a big fancy camera like we have right now. However, whenever you start getting in studio and doing studio stuff, that's a little bit different, and you'll want to have more of a depth of field.
Yeah. So there's really no limitations. That's one component, right? We just talked make video, upload it to YouTube, and repeat. So there's no friction there. We're not asking you to go spend $5,000 on a camera. We're not asking you to spend $800 on a camera. We're asking you to just pick up the phone, something you already paid $1,000 for. So you might as well use it. So when you create the video, that's kind of where we're going to take, let me rephrase that. Not when you create the video. we're going to take it as an assumption that you know how to make a video, which 99.99% of people do know how to make a video. Where the strategy comes in is, what do I actually record? And that's where we're going to provide a ton of value here. And this is how we're looking at actually getting you your first closed transaction on YouTube. That's the goal of the podcast. So understanding who you're speaking to, understanding the questions that they're asking, understanding the personality on the other side of the viewer, I'm sorry, on the other side of the screen, that's what it's about. So if you're treating YouTube as a vanity project, awesome, great, do that, but let's call that a hobby. Let's not call that a business. So if you're making content that, you think it's fun to make just for you, all this other stuff, but let's just call it for what it is. If you're using YouTube as a business, then there's certain questions that you need to answer from your home buyers, people that are already your clients, from home sellers, people that have used you in the past. And the very first place or the very first well that you need to tap into is all of the questions that they've asked you through your tenure. What's the option period? What's the earnest money? What's the best neighborhood here in Dallas? What's the difference between a condo and a single family residence? All of the questions that you've had to ever answer, those are great video topics, because guess what? Your market research, you may not call it this, but your market research has already spoken. So now you have the ability to, instead of just answering that one-to-one question for as dumb or as smart as it could have been, that question that you answered, instead of answering it one-to-one, now you're answering it one-to-many. And the beauty of this, folks, is that it's absolutely free, and you don't have to even be awake to be answering the question. So you are, for all intents and purpose, creating relationship with somebody that you don't know, that is getting to know you. So by the time they call, they're ready to go.
No, I'm glad that you made that point, the one to many, and making stuff for people you don't know, because that was a thought that I was thinking as you're saying it, is you as an agent, you have this ability to, usually you have to have a client to answer questions, right? And so I think that's what most agents wait for. It's like, I got to get a client, and once I get my client, then I'll tell them, how to do this and how to do that. Well, if you think about YouTube, and Jaime, you have to tell me if my sound is coming through okay. Let me know if it's not. If you think about YouTube, you want people to know that you're a problem solver. And every video that you create for YouTube should be set up to solve a problem. And now it doesn't have to be like you're solving world hunger or anything like that. But what's the problem? What are the problems that every homeowner faces? Well, how to sell my home? What are the first steps that I need to take? How do I know what I'm actually going to be walking away with, the amount of money I'm going to be walking away with? What are the things that the buyers face as questions? What about new buyers that have never bought before, right? What about second-time home buyers? What about investors? What about somebody wanting to buy their second property? How much are they going to have to put down? Like, these are all small, and we'll talk again more in depth about different types of videos to create to get people's interest first in your market. But as Jaime stated, you have all the content that you could possibly ever want. You just need to start writing down your ideas and put them on a Trello board, or put them, on Monday.com or whatever you use to track your information, your iPhone notes, your whatever, Google Notes, I can't think of the Google's thing. I don't ever use their stuff, but anyway, whatever they use, you want to make sure that you start writing down these ideas. And then the first few videos, don't script them out. Don't worry about scripting them out. Just start pumping the video out. Like, get 5 videos under your belt, get comfortable being on camera, get comfortable making mistakes, because you're going to make mistakes, and get comfortable editing out your mistakes. And if you can do that, then creating content is going to be so fast, right? You'll just start pumping out content. You're like, oh, I have that idea, I'm going to create that content. I don't care if it's a crappy video. I don't care if the audio is crappy. I just need to get the information out so that people that are out there get to know who I am and know that I'm here to solve their problems, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, you absolutely nailed every single point. And, kind of going into some broad topics. We're gonna weave in even we're gonna weave in some topics just as the opportunity arises, as we're talking about videos to make, videos that get views and videos that get clients. Giving you some suggestions, videos that talk about the market, not from your monthly market reports, because I see those happening a lot. Those don't get too much traction and those don't get long-term views. Because if you're talking about the March update for Crescent Springs in 2020, well, guess what? By the time March is done, even before, honestly, but by the time March is done, I don't care what's happening now. So if you're
Your viewer
so
doesn't care.
smart,
Yeah.
exactly. So when we're talking about market, let's talk about into the future to where it actually matters. Now, this gets a little bit salacious, but that's what actually gets views. Your job is not to alarm people. Your job is to inform people. What do you, Joseph, what do you, Jaime, believe the market is going to do towards the end of 2021? Do you think the interest rates are going to go up? Do you blah, 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 blah? So don't go out there just making a half-hearted effort. Present your viewpoints and substantiate them. You also don't want to look like a fool making just these wild heck claims that just have no basis on reality. So that's one type of video that actually
You
gets
must
views.
you must have watched some of the videos that I watch. Very salacious, very, very, as you said, wild donkey claims that they're
Houses
making
are going
out there.
away. They're all going to be gone. We're going to start all over.
Lumber, we're ran out of trees. No more houses. We will start making adobes. Yeah, adobe homes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a genre, if you will. That's a type of video that you can make. What topics do you suggest, Joseph? What are you seeing out there that are hitting for you?
Yeah, no, so first off, again, I always lean towards I'm a solutionist, right? Everything that I do, businesses that I run, it's all about finding a solution. So whenever I think about homeowners, I think about them the same way. I think about their problems the same way. However, if we're talking about things that are going to be catchy, it's the top 10 homes that are available, the top 10 homes by price, by square foot or price per square foot that are available, right? Because you have to think about yourself as a buyer, as a seller. Like, what are the things that would make you excited, right? Because real estate agents are home buyers, they're home sellers. They just forget sometimes, right? We'll see these agents go, oh yeah, I forgot how crappy it is to have to move, but I tell everybody else to move, right? And so you have to think about, you have to take yourself out of the real estate seat as an agent and put yourself into the buyer seat, into the home seller seat, right? The homeowner seat. And you start making videos that are going to interest them. Especially since we're short in market right now, as far as inventory is concerned, you start looking at, okay, what neighborhoods have homes? Here are the top 5 neighborhoods that have homes available right now, right? And so you want to get people's attention and interest into what neighborhoods actually have homes available. Who has homes coming up? So let's say it's, March right now. Who has homes coming up in June? I have a list of the homes that will be built in June. Who would like access to that, right? I'm going to tell you which neighborhoods are going to have how many homes. So stick around for this video, and I'm going to tell you every neighborhood that's going to have at least 5 homes that are going to be available in June, right? We're June, July right now. July going into August. So I'd say September. In September, I know that the 5 neighborhoods that are going to have homes available to purchase at these price points. So you're just trying to get people intrigued to get them to stick around. And then, of course, there are a lot of other videos that you can do with, current home that's available on the market, new construction home that's getting built right now. These type of things are what people want to see. What's the process from start of point A to point B to point Z of getting a new construction house built, and what all does somebody have to go through to do that? So these are the things that most people are thinking about. By the way, they'll never go Google these things, but for some reason on YouTube, and by the way, all I have to do is type in a couple words and they go read, but nobody wants to read anymore. Everybody wants to watch somebody talk about it. So these are the things that you want to talk about so that they don't have to go watch it. They don't know that. You don't know that. You're starting to hopefully understand that. Most people will never Google some of these things that we talk about because we're just human beings and we're lazy, and we'd rather somebody just tell us what to do. And so anyway, new construction, homes that are coming onto the market for sale, new construction homes, and point A to point Z of buying a new home, right? These are some of the things that I would look at possibly creating. And then we'll dive into some more videos that I've seen where this lady did, I think is doing $3.5 million. Jaime, you may have seen her post about it as well. And it's all from YouTube, right? And we'll talk more about that in a moment as well.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, there's so many different ways that you can take YouTube. Some of it is charted path. It's already been, all you have to do is just follow it, basically. Some of it is uncharted. That's where you take risks. That's where you start. I think this would be a pretty cool video, or I really haven't seen anybody really address it. So I'm going to go ahead and share it. So it's something that, it just depends. But as a creator, really, as a business owner, which you're a real estate agent, something that I want you to really mind map, and this is going to be difficult for the podcast side, so I'll do my best to share this in an audible way. One thing that you really need to understand is the consumer journey of your consumer, your client. And here's what that means. What questions are they asking in their real estate journey? When they say, how to maintain my new house. Well, what does that tell you? Well, they just bought a house, most likely. Um, if somebody searches that, then they most likely have already purchased a home. How to buy a house? Well, that tells you in their consumer journey, they're a little bit further back, but before the decision point. So there's two decision points that you need to be aware of, or there's two events that you need to be aware of. The moment that transaction has closed, so the moment that need has been met. So I bought my house, I sold my house. If you're playing to that point, that event, you are late. That is not the event that you're playing for. That's not the game that you're playing. The game that you're playing it for, the event that you're playing for, is the decision point on which agent am I going to select. So this is where I get in trouble, because this is more of a visual thing, but that first event is going to be me selecting the real estate agent that I'm going to work with. And from that point, it can be 15, 30, 90, however many days to get to that transaction being closed. So again, if you're on the podcast, this one might actually be a good one to check out on the YouTube channel. But you're looking for the videos. If you're looking, actually trying to make YouTube a business, you're looking to create videos before they've made their decision on which agent they're going to go with. So understand and put yourself in those shoes of what are they asking for. Well, they may be asking, who's the best realtor in Dallas, Texas? If somebody's searching for that, well, think about where they're at. They know enough that I need a realtor. They know enough that I need to work with a good realtor. So they are actually by name calling your profession out, as opposed to saying how to buy a house. They're a lot further along. So having that understanding, having that timeline in your mind, again, the decision point when they make their when they make their decision on the agent and when they actually purchase a transaction, you need to have those two timestamps very crystallized in your mind.
Yeah, I think a lot of agents will they are behind because they don't know what to do, right? And we're giving them these tips on exactly what they should be doing. And so I want to say this because as you're talking about the process of, where they are and where they're trying to get to, obviously you need to be in between that. And the thing that you said that really caught my ear was, whenever you look at the process of somebody saying they've already closed the deal, most agents will post about it. And like, I helped this client sell their house for X dollars. I helped my client get this home bought for X dollars. It's one singular post, right? And so the reason I bring that up is, if you think about people on YouTube, the most popular videos are how-to videos, right? And so if you do a walkthrough on how you helped your client get a house for cheaper, or how you helped your client, the seller, get more money for their house, every time you sell a house and every time you help a buyer buy a house, guess what? You don't have to put the title, which I saw a company that was promoting this several years ago, putting the best agent. You are just going to be known as the best agent. All right. And I'll tell you this, there is not, if there is, there are very few videos of agents talking about the process of getting a house for more money, or selling a house for more money, or helping their buyer get a house for less money. Because most agents, now you don't have to talk about the specific house. You can talk about the price. You can talk about different things. You have to be careful on what type of information you share, but you can talk about the scenario and how it all played out. And I guarantee you, there will be a seller that's out there that's like, this mofo right here is a stud, and I want him to help me, or I want her to help me sell my house. And you'll also have a buyer to be like, this dude or this woman can help me get a hell of a deal on a house and cause my price that I want to buy that house to be met. Right now, you're going to get some wackos out there that are going to be just unrealistic, but they're going to think you're awesome, and they're going to reach out to you because you're talking through the process of being a BA, a very good agent, and they're going to want to know, like, how do I work with you? Because you're able to do XYZ. You've already showed me. And to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, it's all about results. And the more results you can show for this particular type of strategy, if you have homes that you've sold and you can talk through that process, and it doesn't have to be a long video, it can be 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, people are going to find you and they're going to want to work with you because they're going to be like, man, you do a great job, and I need to know how you can help me do the same thing.
You make such a great point. You make such a great point. And really what that made me think about was, in reality, YouTube is a great equalizer. If I was a new agent, I'd be ecstatic. I'd be ecstatic because I can make these videos, and you see that happening now with agents that are they'll straight up tell you, I'm brand new, I just got my license. Here's my journey. So there's that. It's overused, but I'm gonna have to use it, Joseph, the word authenticity. I know it's
No, it's
overused,
fine. No,
but
agents need to hear it.
yeah, it's
They also need to change their profile pictures. But yeah, go ahead and use it.
the issue. Well, I guess not the issue. This whole equalizer, well, I'll just tie it back kind of like to my insecurity. And I think a lot of agents have this insecurity. I would always fear that when I would walk into a listing appointment, that they're going to ask me, how many homes have you sold? I never once was asked that. And it's one of those insecurities that happens, right? But with YouTube, the reason I say it's the greatest equalizer is because you're seeing somebody that's out there sharing information, doing walkthroughs, sharing, showcasing the community and all that fun stuff. That agent, that the consumer that's watching them on the phone, on the desktop, whatever, that buyer is going to gravitate towards that individual versus the 30 years in the business. I have 8,000 one-star reviews. I can't relate. I can't even touch that. That's not even something I don't want to work with that. So you are on the same footing as these individuals. And that's just wild to think. So the whole, well, I've been doing this business for 20 years, that's out the window. That doesn't work. If you're out here on YouTube, one, it's modern and unique enough. There's a lot of room to run, but two, you're building community with somebody so quickly that I know some people chuckle when I do my presentations to title companies, lenders, and all the large brokerages. But I do believe that there's going to be no easier lead to close than a YouTube lead. Even your family. I mean, I've had family members use somebody else, but there's going to be no easier lead to convert than a YouTube lead. I firmly believe that.
Yeah, it's as the saying goes, it's a young man's game or young woman's game now, right? or young there, his, hers, all of that, right? It's a young person's game. And you have to understand that, as Jaime stated, you start leveling the playing field. Because if I were to, again, this fear of people worrying about somebody asking you how many homes have you sold, right? That just very seldom gets asked, right? Usually somebody, here's how I would face that if I were a new agent. Number one, I'd create a video talking about my journey and why I decided to become a new agent. You'll probably get clients from that alone if you got into it to help people and you're honest. Hey, I need to make some money, and I felt like this was a good path to do it because, let's be honest, in today's day and age, talking about money is starting to become more and more normal, right? And so, create a video talking about that, and then if they ask you, how many homes have you sold, say, hey, Mr. and Miss Seller, it's not about necessarily about how many homes I've sold. It's about how many people I can get to see your house, right? And here's what you also need to understand is that I work at whatever brokerage and these other agents work at whatever brokerage, and we all have the same job. The only reason the other person has sold more homes that you might interview later is because they've been in the industry longer than me. And I can guarantee you this: I will beat them in 5 years. There's no way they'll be able to keep up with me because they're still playing the old person's game. And you can do that and use that strategy. However, if you want your house to be seen by more people and do the things that we're going to talk about doing, then I might be the right person for you. So do you want to hear my strategy? Right. And so you just change the conversation completely from how many homes have you sold to I'm going to show your house to way more people than they will. All right. And to the right people.
Dang. That's good, man. I wish I had you as a coach when I started mine. Mine was disastrous. Well, I've got time. So while they're busy, I'm going to only be focused on your house. That was basically my rebuttal that I thank God I never had to practice it, because if you would have shown up immediately after, I would have been effed.
The funny thing about these strategies that we're talking about, and again, you can even make a YouTube video about that, like literally saying those exact things I just said. An agent can make that video and say, look, the reason that I think people will want to work with me is because I know how to market. I know how to get people's houses in front of people. You're watching this video right now because I wanted you to see this video. And if you want to sell your house and you want people to see your house, you'll want me to be the person doing that because I'm going to put it in front of people who can buy your house, right? And you can do a whole YouTube video about that. People will be like, yeah, you'll sell my house. I know you. The way you're talking, I found you on the internet. You're right, right? And so you just got to understand how to take that information and flip it into something positive.
Miguel over on YouTube is saying, dang, that's fire. Look at that. It even gave you the fire emoji.
Maybe I should be a real estate coach, man. I'm thinking about getting that business.
Get it.
Thanks, Miguel. Appreciate it.
The one thing that we don't want to forget is, let's keep it simple. You have a video, you upload it to YouTube, right?
Yeah.
So when you upload it to YouTube, people will find you naturally. If you connect, you give them information, assuming that you communicate who you are, what you do, and where you do it. So who you are, Jaime Resendez, what you do, real estate agent in Dallas, Fort Worth. It's pretty simple. Who you are, what you do, and where you do it. Assuming that you get that right, people are going to find you. Assuming that you put your information everywhere. So you put it on your, you have a website, you put it on your Zillow profile, Trulia profile, which one and the same, they own each other, or Zillow owns Trulia. Your information is around. You're going to be found. Now, here's the thing, and this is kind of where where we kind of, not you and I, but a lot of individuals that I speak with, we kind of differ. I'm more on the lead gen strategy, and they're more on the being YouTube stars, which is fine. People will find you organically, but you want to help them as much as possible to communicate with you, because although they know that they can find you, you want to make the process so much simpler. So here's what I mean. You're going to get people emailing you. You're going to go get people calling you, but those are the proactive. These are typically higher achiever people that are going to go out there and seek answers. So you're going to have those types of leads, and that's fantastic. Again, there's not going to be an easier lead to convert, but how you start going through this at scale is by inviting people into your CRM as much as you can without annoying them. So there's a difference. When you're going through a video or making a video, one of the things that you want to do is invite people to either check out a calculator that you've created, a list of homes under a certain amount, making an offer that people will actually go down to the description and click through to get it. So you can, let's just say you do a affordability calculator. You just do a simple Google sheet. You don't even have to make it. You can just rip it off from somewhere else, make it the Google sheet, and then create a simple landing page, whatever software you're using. So create that landing page, invite people to give you their email. If you want to get their name and their phone number, that's great, but email is all you need. Once they give you that email, then they get access to the Google sheet. So when that happens, what just happened? Well, you got a lead. And me as a viewer, I'm not looking to buy a house until 6 months from now, but I am interested in the topic that I just covered, and I can get I get an idea of how much of a house I can afford. So I'm going to go ahead and give you my information today. So think about that difference of me as a viewer that's going to purchase a house in 6 months. Well, I saw your content. I found it valuable, but I'm not going to reach out to you right now because I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time. It's too early. I don't want to get sales pressured into anything. So I'm just going to go continue, kick the can down the road. And ultimately, when month 6 hits, I'm going to just Google and try to find an agent. Well, once that happens, you're potentially lost that viewer that you provided incredible value for, as opposed to if you had invited them to, again, the invitations to get into your CRM. You're not telling them that, but I'm just giving you how the sausage is made. By you providing an offer, now you're incentivizing me as a viewer, again, that I'm going to purchase a house in 6 months. I, as a viewer, now am going to give you my information because I need whatever it is that you're giving me. And then that's when what we call nurturing, which we're not that great at sometimes, that's when nurturing takes over. And come month 6, that's when you're on the other side of the closing table with them.
Oh, that's great, Jaime. I think you can play both sides of it, right? And so you'll have people that are very passive. They'll create, their content, and then everything. If you're in business, the lifeblood of your business is leads, right? It's clients, it's customers. And so you need to figure out ways to get their information so that you can reach out to them and stay in touch with them. Now, a lot of people are apprehensive. My guess is because they don't want to be salesy, right? They don't want to be pushy salespeople. However, the person that's watching your video, if they've watched it for a while and they think they like you, well, you don't necessarily say, hey, you're not saying, hey, come jump in my CRM, right? But you can say something like, hey, join my weekly newsletter, and click the link down below to join my weekly newsletter. I also send you updates whenever I release a new video. It'll be, if you really enjoy this video, it'll be videos very similar to this to keep you updated on what's going on in the market, as well as any new trends that we see that are happening, right? And join thousands of other people that have come and to get an update on my weekly YouTube videos and my weekly newsletter. And that's all you have to say. It's not like you're saying, hey, let me get your phone number. I'm going to call you 30 times in a week because I need you to buy this house so I can pay my bills, right? You're as the kids say today, finessing people into being clients, right? And you don't have to be the salesy person. You can build that relationship and allow them to get to know you. And the more they see you, it's just like a product. Like if I see something enough times, I think I'm like, the first time I see it, I'm like, I really like that. I like that. And then I'm like, oh, I see another YouTube video on it. I'm starting to like that a little bit more. Man, my credit card is itching to come out of my pocket now. My credit card is officially on the table, video 5, and video 6, video 7. I already bought it. I'm watching reviews on how to use it now, right? And so it's the same thing for these home buyers and home sellers. If you can get them into your newsletter and into your weekly videos, they're going to see so much of you. They're going to think that you're best friends. That's just the way the game works. And anybody who says it any other way is just living in a dreamland, because that's not, I mean, that's just the process of sales. That's the process. Of course, there are different processes in sales, but that's the process of YouTube. That's the process of content today. The more they see you, the more they like you. And if you're listening to this, or if you're watching this on YouTube, you think of anything that you've watched in the last month, anything that you've seen, any show that you've watched in the last month, any music show, any talent show, and think about how much deeper you get into that because you've watched that person and you kind of know their story. Now imagine you're that person. Imagine you're that real estate agent. Imagine you're them, and now, or you're that person that people are starting to like, and they're you watching the TV show. They're you watching the story of this, person that is becoming better than they've ever been before, better than they were the week before. Then they're going to start to really love you and want to be a part of whatever you're doing, right? And most people can't fathom that. But you as an agent, it seems so far off, but 30, 60, 90, 180 days out, 360 days out, you'll become this freaking awesome real estate agent that's on YouTube that you didn't even know you can become, right? But you just got to get started with it.
Yeah, that's such a critical point. And it's so, if you haven't lived it, I'll just be candid. If you haven't lived it, it's hard to imagine. But that being having people say, I'll give you some examples. Right now, my goal is to read 12 books by the end of the year. I started July 1st, and it's something I articulated through video. I get reminded of that now. I get, hey, what book are you on? Well, I'm on book 4, just in case anybody's asking. The camera, that I just got the Sony one, which again, the name of it. I don't, but the camera is like, hey, when are you gonna record with it? This is my first time recording. I literally just set it up before you and I hopped on. But being able to relate to people without even being there, I don't know anything about somebody. It's like when you get the call, and I know you're getting it now as well, where I can't believe I'm actually talking to you. And it's not because we're anything, we're no different. And it's the same thing with not comparing ourselves to movie stars, but they're no different. So it's just now you have the ability. You don't have to move to Nashville to be a country star. You don't have to move to LA to become a movie star. You don't have to move to New York to become a financial trader. You have the ability of creating whatever business, whatever you want, from a 10 by 10 room, and generate
that's a big room. That's a big room. I'm gonna tell you how big my room is right
I mean, now. Just if that broom closet that we had to clean out for you,
that's generous. Broom closet is generous.
Get out of here, Mr. 62nd floor. Get out of
here. Oh man, that's hilarious. No, you're right though, Jaime. I think those of you who are watching, I'll say this to the point you said a moment ago, is if you haven't lived it, you don't know it, right? But reality is everybody has lived it. You've just been on the other side of it. Right. And so you've got to understand that you can easily be the person that you are right now and have people look at you the way you look at these movie stars, and have people look at you the way you look at the top agent in your market. And all you have to do is just be on, like literally just be on camera and talk about real estate stuff. And people are going to just look at, because you have to think also how many people are unwilling to be on camera. Think about the number of people that are making YouTube videos, the number of people that are out there creating content compared to the rest of the population. It is a very finite number, a very, very finite number. Even if you said there were 1 million YouTubers out there right now, which I think there are a little bit more than that. But that is such a fraction of the population of what's the population in the US? 300 million or something like that, right?
330, yeah.
Yeah, think about how small, even if it was 1%, let's say it was 1% of that, or even more, even 10%, you still have 90% of the population who have never probably been in a video. And so that's 90% of people, and depending on how large how much of the population actually wants to buy a home and owns a home, you have an edge because you are that person that they get to see. And then the chance that they get to talk to you, they're gonna be like, man, like Jaime said, can't believe I'm talking to you right now. Like I never thought I was gonna get through to you. It's like, what do you mean? My phone number was online, my email was you went through my sales funnel, all my information was there. Of course you're gonna talk to me, but you have to think that they're thinking totally different, right? They're thinking of you as like up here. You're thinking of yourself down here, right? And so you have to start thinking of yourself over here like you think of everybody else that you think is a top person in your market, or however you think of these other larger than life people.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, this is before we get to some ninja hacks, I want to remind everybody that we are on every single podcast platform. But if you want to rate us, the Apple platform is where you need to go. So iTunes, a 5-star review goes a long way. It really does help in the not just the rankings, but the visibility is really what the end goal there is. So podcast is its own unique ecosystem that Joseph and I have ventured into over the last year. So this is absolutely free to you, and it's going to remain that way. So before we get to ninja strategies, one thing I wanted to remind everybody that 5-star review is still highly coveted by us and very much appreciated. So really thank you for the support there. As we get into the into the ninja stuff, this is not to pat ourselves on the back or draw attention to ourselves, but this is really where the differentiator between the Agent Lead Source podcast and everything else that's fluff, if you will. This is where that separation is. There's that separation season. We're going to dive into ads just to wet your beak. That's about it. We're not going to go into too much of it, but we really want to create an entire campaign so you don't have to spend $5,000 with somebody that's going to tell you this information and have no idea that because they've never done it before. Stop me if you've heard this, Joseph.
They bought it from somebody else.
Yeah, no joke. They listened to this podcast and then sold it to you for $5,000.
Smart business move, I guess.
Yeah, smart person. From the paid perspective, there's really two strategies that I wanted to share, and if you want to pepper in some others, Joseph. From a paid perspective, as you're getting views on YouTube, that's organic, right? You uploaded the video, you're getting 1,000 views, 10,000 views, 2 million views, whatever. You have the ability of retargeting, so showing yourself again to the individuals that viewed you organically. So you can run YouTube ads to the people that have viewed you before. So, but to do that, you're going to have to set that up because it doesn't work retroactively. I don't want to get too technical, but so people don't think that I don't know what I'm talking about. You can work retroactively for 30 days, but beyond that, it's gone. So you can get about 2 years worth of data of viewers. So when you're on Google ads, I'm getting too technical here, but you have YouTube ads and you have Google ads. The YouTube ads are launched from the Google ads platform because Google owns YouTube. You're going to go over to Google ads and create an audience. That audience is going to point towards your YouTube channel after you connect it. And then you're going to select create an audience of people that have watched my YouTube channel. So you need to go and do that right now. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, search it up. Chances are you're going to find my video on how to do this, but go search that out and start today. This is not I'll get around to it when I get to it. Well, if you get to it in a year from now, you've lost a lot of data. So go out there and do it right now. You may not have an intention of doing YouTube ads right now. That's fine. But in 6 months, your business may look different. In 2 years, for sure, it better look different, or we're going to be in trouble. When you go out, again, if you're thinking about pushing this down the road, don't. Go ahead and create your custom audience so you can get your YouTube ads, at least give yourself an opportunity to retarget people. Now, before I get to the second one, does that make sense? I went way into the weeds, Joseph, on that.
No, I'll break it down a bit. Basically, what you're trying to do is you're trying to make sure that as soon as possible, you start building your database of people that you can say, hey, you watched my video before, here are more videos, right? And you run an ad to that. So essentially, you're becoming the Amazon target of your market by allowing yourself to follow them around the internet, right? Specifically YouTube. And so you want to do that as fast as possible, because if you don't do it, then it starts collecting data as soon as you do it. But the longer you wait, you miss out on 30 days away from that, right? So basically, if you said, I start today, you have 30 days in the past to go back. So every time you get 30 days further out, you're missing out on 30 days back. Is that correct, Iman?
Yeah, you're missing out on more than that. You can only recapture 30 days worth.
Yeah, so you're missing out. So like, let's say you
Yeah.
started today and you've been doing it for a year, you're only going to get 30 days worth of that data. You missed out on basically 11 months.
Yeah. So that's one aspect of ads. Again, we're going to be here for a few more seconds. The second aspect is from the Facebook side. So when you're inviting people, we mentioned landing pages, or you can do a website, that's fine. Inviting people to, driving people to your websites, you have the ability of retargeting them there as well. So you're using YouTube as a traffic source that's going to push traffic over to your website, landing pages, whatever. And now you can retarget them on Facebook. So they just saw you on YouTube. Oh, they logged in on the other platform, which is Facebook and Instagram. Crap, he's here too.
Got to be everywhere, right? It's called omnipresent. So the more omnipresent you can be, the more people see you, the more they get to know you, and hopefully like you if you're doing the right stuff. I'd like to go another route, if you will, Jaime. So you're talking about the retargeting side of things, which I obviously love, because that drives down your cost of everything, right? Whenever you're able to retarget. But I want to talk about in general, and I'm not going to go too deep in it, but essentially what you can do, those of you who want to start doing YouTube videos and do YouTube ads and YouTube lead generation specifically, you can go in and you can target your city, which is very basic, but you can also target intent. So you can target people that have intent to move. And so what you're probably going to find is your lead costs will most likely in the beginning be a little bit higher, but eventually be lower than your lead costs on Facebook. And even if it's not lower, your leads will be much higher quality. And I want to frame quality because marketers will say different random things about quality. They will be people that actually have intent to have a conversation with you. And right. So I want to make sure that those of you who are considering leaving Facebook for for lead generation, or leaving any other platform that you're utilizing, YouTube might be something that you start diving a little bit deeper into, because now you have this ability to target intent. And those of you who don't know what intent means, that means that that's something that they want to do. And so you want to target people who want to move. You want to target people who want to sell. And you get the ability to do that through YouTube ads. And now you can capture the information or get them to watch your video and get to know who you are, right?
That's such a great point. And I love that. We're I hate to get too much into the weeds, but this is because everyone is in a different place, but for those that are on the more advanced, not trying to be derogatory, but more advanced on the marketing side, I think you can appreciate your point and my point, and really the podcast. One huge thing that we cannot gloss over is the fact that what you brought up, the whole from that side of the equation versus what I brought up. Mine is earned audience. Yours is not. And it's not any less. It's you're tapping into what Google gives you. You're tapping into that ability to target people that you had no say. They never found your video, they never connected with you, but now you still have the ability of getting in front of them. So not only are you able to retarget people that you already, your hard work to get to the 10,000 people that viewed you, 100 people that viewed you, but now you get to tap into that network that Google has absolutely identified for you as like, hey, these are your people. They just don't know it. So go ahead and run this ad and it's going to get you. So you get to capture audience that you had no business um, in generating. And you also get to retarget that audience that you did bring to the table. So I wanted to draw those distinctions because both are powerful and we can't gloss over that. That's huge.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like you said earlier, right? It's understanding that you want to be omnipresent as much as possible. You want to be on Facebook, you want to be on Instagram, you want to be on YouTube. Not only do you want to be there, you want to understand how each of them can give you or offer different aspects of lead generation, right? I know earlier you were saying, you might have some people that have a different opinion than you on getting people to opt in to give you their information in exchange for whatever value you're providing. And what I would say to that person is, you're cutting yourself short, because that's the whole purpose of marketing. There's no other purpose in marketing if you run a business than to have sales and to have clients. And yeah, you can have relational transactions, or you can just be a transactional type of person. But no matter what, the end result is always the same. I'm trying to get people to work with me. And so, whoever that person was, I would say you're cutting yourself at a minimum 50% short by not getting people to do this thing, right?
No, that's huge. That's huge. Folks, as a quick reminder, a 5-star review is going to go a long way. Joseph, we usually have a debrief after every single podcast, but I'll go ahead and have that debrief right now. I think that this episode is one of our best ones. I can't call it the top one because I think that would just be living in the moment.
Mm.
I think that there's just so much in here, that a lot of information, that having paid for certain information myself and seeing the lack of information or value that I was provided back,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
the info that we just dropped, again, sounds very cocky, but is just miles ahead over any webinar that you're going to find, a lot of courses that you're going to see out there. I promised you that it was going to be dense from the beginning, and I think that we lived up to that part.
Yeah.
But give yourself the gift of listening to this again. I know it sounds cocky and from a guy that's pretty good, very well dressed right now. But give yourself, seriously, trying to remove all that, trying to be funny aspect out of it. Analyzing, preparing for this podcast, I knew it was going to be fire. Living through it in the last 50 minutes, I think that this is one of our best podcasts ever.
Yeah, and that's saying a lot, because we've helped people sell $700,000 houses. So that's saying a lot. I I think that, Jaime, I think this is a really good podcast, because we're bringing people up to speed on what they need to be doing, right? And to your other point, we have both paid for things where we were expecting a lot more, and what we gave on this in 50 minutes compared to what some of those things have provided in value, they provided a heck of a lot less than we did in these 50 minutes. And so those of you who are going out there and buying these type of things, if you have questions about YouTube, or like how Heim is at 20,000 plus people right now, I was trending on, I don't know how many people, I was adding like 120 people within 28 days or something like that. If you want some of these strategies that we do, and we'll dive deeper into this on a later podcast, but if you want some of that information, reach out to us. I mean, we're about as open book as we can possibly be. All right. Now, of course, we both run businesses and things like that. And we'll get to you when we get to you, or our teams will get to you. But your questions will be answered, and it won't cost you $5,000 to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I dig it. I dig it. Again, a 5-star review. That's all we ask. As far as a dismount, I feel like we're double dismounting here. But as far as the dismount, I think that we gave some very technical information. That's cool. But I think more than anything, I want you to really take the strategies that we spoke about Don't get mired down on how do I convert this video file to this video file and upload. That's findable. That information, that is in abundance. There's going to be a lot of to a certain extent, my channel is very tutor-esque, if you will, very one and done type of a deal. That type of information, that's findable. We want you to really take it more from a strategic, as a CEO, as an entrepreneur perspective on, I'm going to go in here. I have a general sense of where this fits within my business. I may not know the settings. I may not know the exact X, Y, and Z, but there's a lot of information on how to do that. So just take it from a more strategic standpoint, insert it into your business, and really understand why you're doing this. A lot of people are making videos that, oh yeah, videos are great, but I want to post this on my stories. I'm going to post this on my IG. And it's just lost. You're not gaining momentum. You're being seen, but there's no strategy to where you're just going to plateau very, very quickly, because it's the same song and dance that a lot of your viewers have probably already seen before.
No, I think that's good, right? You need to make sure you have intent and know what your end game is, right? And again, I think I said this earlier, your end game is very simple: to find clients and let clients find you and do business with them and make them like you. Or you don't have to, you can't make them do anything. They can do what they want, but allow them to like you by being the person that you are, and creating helpful content. And again, creating content that solves a problem for them as a buyer or as a seller. And you will find that people will want to work with you. Keep it very simple. Keep it as simple as possible and just get started. That's probably the hardest part of anything, but specifically about creating videos. I don't care if your first video is 60 seconds, or your first 5 videos are 60 seconds, just get started creating videos.
Boom, boom. Folks, it has been an absolute joy. This is episode 45, which we shared how to close your first transaction on YouTube today. So with that being said, it's been an absolute pleasure, and we're going to see you next week. Bye.
Bye, guys.